high blood pressure is something that I think that we'll talk about a lot in communities, and you hear it on the news a lot. But it's one of those things that just seems to be very easy to ignore, because it's always just another problem that we have to think about. And this is why we call high blood pressure the silent killer, really. Because we all have a level of blood pressure in our bodies. This is how we stay alive, because we need a certain pressure within our arteries, that's your blood vessels that come out of the heart, in order to perfuse all of your vital organs. The problem arises is when that pressure is too high. And the problems that you can get from having high blood pressure are really quite, terrifying, because we're all sitting here and we're all, presume the majority of us are all healthy, but it can cause incredible problems. And the brain is really the most susceptible organ in the body to high blood pressure damage. And as you've heard, in the context of brain hemorrhage, which is this catastrophic condition, which, although there have been wonderful improvements, it's still one of the worst things that can happen to an individual from a medical perspective. High blood pressure is the main modifiable risk factor for this condition, and yet it remains one of the easiest things to check for. So you can go to your pharmacy now. There are apps on your watch. You can go to your general practitioner. You'll see a physician associate, see one of the practice nurses. And high blood pressure doesn't just cause brain hemorrhage, it also causes memory loss and dementia. It causes the ischemic stroke, which is the furring up of the arteries and then the clot lodging in the brain as well, causing brain damage, as well as causing all of the other problems. I'm very happy that we've got some of our colleagues here from the world of optometry. It can cause visual problems, kidney problems, and problems in the heart as well, of course. So it's really fantastic to be working here in this context, because it all feels so joined up, because what happens in medicine when we don't work well is that we work in what you would call a silo. I would be working in blood pressure, and Katie would be working on looking at the effects of bleeding on the brain, and Adrian would be working with patients who have brain hemorrhage. But the difference that, the Navigate Mass Trust is enabling is that all of us to work together on this, to look at the treatment and the prevention as well. And one of the things that Fiona and I have been really excited about is looking at high blood pressure through the life course of people, because a third of us have high blood pressure. It's really quite scary that so many of us in the room, I think there's probably about 30 of us in the room, so 10 of us here, have got blood pressure, which will cause, over the course of your life, damage to your brain. And the treatment is really very simple. We've got fantastic drugs that cause virtually no side effects. And even if some of them do, you can then rotate through to taking other ones. And the person's blood pressure is a very useful barometer of your health. So, for example, if you maybe are not eating properly, don't exercise, maybe taking too much salt, then your blood pressure will go up. And that puts you at risk of not just having things like a brain hemorrhage, but doing worse if you did have one. So I think it's just a fantastic opportunity to get people to look at their overall health and try to improve things.